Hi everyone, welcome to another Have You Heard? And today we're listening to Crosby, Stills and Nash. We don't do enough Crosby, Stills and Nash on the channel. Some of you will know, absolutely one of my favourite bands, and Stephen Stills in particular is a hero of mine. What we're going to be doing today is listening to Southern Cross, which is a fairly well-known song, I guess, but it just happens to be one of my favourites. Now, I've got all the information and stuff from this 4 CD compilation, CSN, which I would recommend to anybody if they want a really in-depth compilation of these guys' career. It's not just Crosby, Stills and Nash. There's some Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young songs. There's some Crosby and Nash songs. There are a few solos. There's even a couple of Manassas. But there's, 19 or so songs on each of 4 discs. It's really worth a look. And also this beautiful booklet that comes with it, with information on every single song, either from Stephen or from David or from Graham or from producers, and a lovely essay to begin with. It's a beautiful piece of work and I would recommend it to anyone. Anyway, yes. Southern Cross obviously came from the Daylight Again album, which was released in 1982, wasn't it? Yes, from June 1982, and did very well, got to number 18 in the Billboard charts, and this was released as a single and got to number 8. But there's some interesting stuff about this song, who played and sang on it, how it was written in the first place, and we can talk about that perhaps after we've listened to it. But I've been talking for far too long, giving the album a plug. Let's just listen to the song. One of Stephen Stills' finest. And okay, written in 1982, some people call this the definition of yacht rock because it's written about a yacht. Tell me what you think afterwards. But here we go, Southern Cross.
Town on a boat on the southern islands, sailing to reach before a following sea. She was making for the trades on the outside and the downhill run to Papeete. Off the wind on this heading line, the Marquesas. Got 80 feet of a water line, nicely making way in a noisy bar in Avalon. I tried to call you, but on a midnight watch I realized why twice you ran away. Think about how many times I have fallen. Spirits are using me, larger voices calling. What heaven brought you and me cannot be forgotten. I have been around the world, looking for that woman girl who knows love can endure, and you know it will. When you see the Southern Cross for the first time, you understand now why you came this way. 'Cause the truth you might be running from is so small, but it's as big as the promise of a coming day. So I'm sailing for tomorrow, my dreams are a-dying, and my love is an anchor tied to you, tied with a silver chain. I have my ship and all her flags are a-flying. She is all that I have left, and music is her name. Think about how many times I have fallen. Spirits are using me, but your voice is calling. What heaven brought you and me cannot be forgotten. Tested, and we never failed to fail. It was the easiest thing to do. You will survive being bested. Somebody fine will come along, make me forget about loving you. In the Southern Cross,
Such a beautiful song, and I always feel so content after I listen to it. Yacht rock? It's an awful phrase. What do you think? Yacht rock. I mean, it was what, late 70s Steely Dan, Gaucho, and Michael McDonald and Christopher Cross and all those guys. They were tagged with the yacht rock um, description, weren't there? I don't like it at all. It's the music is much nicer than that, and it gives the wrong impression. Anyway, let's not talk about that. Let's talk about the song. Um, Firstly, it's written by Stephen Stills and the Curtis brothers, Rick and Michael Curtis. And apparently, the story goes that the Curtis brothers actually wrote a song called Seven League Boots and gave it to Stephen, offered it to Stephen to record on whatever he was going to do next. And Stephen liked the song, but he thought he could do something with it a little bit. So he did. And he changed the words, he changed a bit of the chorus, I believe, and wrote about how he was recovering from his divorce and about the long boat trip that he took to get over the divorce. And it talks to the power of the universe and how it can wound, how it can heal your wounds, according to Stephen. It certainly makes me feel better after I listen to it, that's for sure. So it's credited to the Curtis brothers and to Stephen Stills. And Stephen, very modest as usual, says, the guys brought me a gem and I just cut and polished it a bit. Yes. Now, it's a Crosby, Stills and Nash album and song, but David actually doesn't sing on the album because initially it was going to be just a Nash and Stills project. and this was in 1981, and they were. I don't think they were talking to David at the time, or it might have been that David was in rehab after one of his many drug busts. I'm not too sure about that, but certainly it was just Stephen and Graham, and it was their project. But the record company were holding out. They said, no, no, it's going to sell a hell of a lot better if we can get Crosby's name onto the album as well. Can't you reach out to him? So all kinds of political shenanigans went on, and David came back into the fold, but very late into the process. And this song had already been recorded, and Stephen and Graham were really happy with it. Now, it's not just Stephen and Graham singing, and it's not David at all, but there's Timothy B. Schmidt from the Eagles, of course, Mike Finnegan as well singing. I mean, Mike Finnegan's a keyboard player who also plays keys on this album, along with Richard T. Bear. And then there's Stephen on acoustic guitar with a gentleman called Michael Sturgis, who I don't know who that is. Stephen's on electric guitar, and then Joe Lala on percussion, George Perry on bass, Joe Vitale on drums, all stalwarts of the CSN era, always playing on Stephen's stuff, particularly things like Manassas. So so the vocals, those lovely harmonies, are four-part harmonies without David. And it does feel slightly different. If you listen to it carefully, it doesn't feel like your typical Crosby, Stills, Nash, and certainly not a Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young four-part harmony at all, because Neil's vocals are very different. But it's really, really good, and I just love it. And I know the reaction channels love it too. There's quite a few reactions on YouTube, and everyone seems to swoon over the song, and quite rightly so. And I love the way in the chorus that Stephen sort of prompts everybody to sing the right word. This is the first word of the phrase, come along. Ever the control freak, Stephen Stills, but I love him, and he's still one of my absolute icons. I think he's the most underrated musician of the 60s and 70s and 80s, and I would love to meet him. I really would. But there we go. I've had my little love-in with Stephen Stills. I have to do that every once in a while. But yeah, these guys were great. And I remember seeing Crosby, Stills and Nash in Johannesburg in 1995 or so, I think it was. So a good 10, 12 years after this, yeah, probably longer. And they were superb. Oh, I was almost in tears. It was so wonderful. The only time I ever saw them live. But boy, it was worth waiting for. Let me know in the comments what you think about this particular song. What your favourite Crosby, Stills, Nash, Young moments are. And if you're new to the channel, have a little look at our playlists that are linked. There's some Stephen Stills stuff. There's some David Crosby. There's a Crosby, Stills and Nash song. There's a Neil Young song, and all kinds of other stuff. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Please like it so that the algorithm works for us, and perhaps subscribe to the channel. We're going to be doing some interesting stuff in the next few weeks, so it might well be worthwhile subscribing. But anyway, I'll close off there. Thank you very much for having watched. I hope you enjoyed this beautiful song, and I look forward to seeing you on our next episode, which will be out tomorrow. So until then, cheers everybody.